questions. I will now hand over to Dan, who's our external guest, who's from Visions Designs, which is an organization that he's founded himself. The organization basically specializes in supporting with web design and web development as well. And he's also a neurodivergent advocate who is passionate about the importance of lived experience in neuroadvocacy, and which I'm glad to basically see. So I will hand all the pleasures over to Dan to take over the segment. And I believe you're muted.
I was. Typical. Mitchell, thank you very much for the introduction there. Can everybody see my screen okay?
Yep, yeah. And you're recording as well.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, first of all, yeah, like I just said, thanks very much for the introduction, and thank you very much for inviting me to talk today. I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and thanks very much for taking the time to listen to me. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about me, my journey, and some of the tools that have helped me along the way. As Mitchell just said there, I'm the founder and managing director of Visions Design. We are an award-winning creative agency based in Lymm in Cheshire. I've had the business for probably just over 12 years now, actually. Which seems to have just flown, but I think it's just because I'm really passionate about the business, and I really enjoy the work that we create. But as someone with dyslexia and autism, I'm very proud to embrace like who I am as an individual, and explain to you a little bit about my entrepreneurial journey, how I've employed the people that I do, and why I employ the people that I do, and the direction of the business. But I've always been a creative individual, right back from just my school days, when I tended like not to actually fit in and struggle to fit in, and I always made excuses for reading out loud in class, and just avoiding things and playing up to try and get out of that. But we have come a long way from the like 80s, when I was back. I'm probably showing my age there now. But yeah, things have changed for the better. I think we've still got a long way to come, but I particularly think neurodiverse individuals, including those with autism, ADHD, dyslexia, and other conditions, all bring a unique perspective to problem solving and abilities and creative skills. And it can make them really, really well suited for like art, design, writing, filmmaking, and lots of other creative professions, which is why I started Visions. So this is just a screen recording from our company website, which we relaunched last year. We do lots of work in lots of different industries, and we provide, these are our main services here, so branding, digital marketing, and web design. I'd say 80% of what we do is web design, but we've won over 100 different awards all over the world. There's some of the staff there, but I employ 14 staff, and a number of those are neurodiverse as well. And there's some of the clients that we've worked for. If you're a client, you can jump straight into that project and you can just book a meeting directly from there. There's also there's lots of information on here, but this is the About Us page. It tells us a little bit more about the team. We tried to make sure that the website was built and was dynamic and interesting, but not overwhelming. You can slide through the whole team there, and some of those cards actually flip over, again, just to make it a little bit more interactive. So I face like a number of different challenges every day, but some of the ones that I experience on a regular basis, and this isn't just me, I think it's like collectively throughout the team, we look at our time management. I often struggle to plan and prioritize. or I can like hyper focus and spend too much time on one thing and then I neglect something else. And that was tricky. My focus, I get easily distracted by a small thing. Normally, if it's a creative thing as well, as if it's more creative over there, I'm just over there. And yeah, I often get distracted by text messages, conversations, pop-ups. We get so many alerts now on our phones and laptops. It's overwhelming sometimes. My productivity, I find that I could be working all day and then actually have nothing to show for it at the end, and then that just is a bit demoralizing. And then I often get overwhelmed. I probably say a yes to a lot of things when I should take a moment to think about it and then process that and decide whether I can achieve that within a certain time scale. But I like to please people, and I'll I try and help where I can. So I say yes to everything, but then I sometimes struggle to deliver it because I don't know where to start, or I get distracted again, and the whole thing just kind of loops around. So they're my challenges, but how I overcome these and some solutions to my time management. I not always, but like I said, I've had the business for 12 years, and in the last, well, I suppose in the first couple of years, I needed to get to grips with things a lot quicker, and I started employing people, and they wanted to know where I was spending my time and what I was doing. So I absolutely live in my diary. I use Google Calendar. There's lots of other ways of, lots of other calendars, but we use the whole Google suite throughout the business, and I absolutely live in my calendar, especially now that we have to be more flexible and there are a lot more people within the business that need to know what I'm doing, so that we can schedule other meetings around that. It just allows me to coordinate my day, and also I will set timers. So if I'm in a meeting and I know I'm going to get distracted, I'll set a timer on my phone, which will go off like 5 minutes before that meeting is due to end, and then it like triggers. It's like gives me a little trigger. So yeah, and then when I'm actually in meetings, I record all of my meetings. So I use Google to do that. So I transcribe and record them so that I use AI to summarize the calls, which has just been a huge saving with regards to time and also communication, getting back to the clients as well. So this is a page specifically on the website where I send a lot of clients to, in terms for them to book a meeting. So for speed, rather than bouncing emails backwards and forwards, I send them this link, and then the person can find a meeting, and they're not under any pressure, and emails are not bouncing backwards and forwards. They can find a time and a date to suit them. Solutions to my focus. Again, as I mentioned, I completely live in my diary, which helps with my focus. But there are other things outside of work. I've probably only read a handful of books, and those books I will have really struggled to read, actually physically in paper. But because my dyslexia was diagnosed after school. Later in life, I was probably at the age of about 30, just coming up to my 30th birthday, before I fully understood my autism and my dyslexia at the same time. And I subscribed to Audible, and throughout that time, I've tried to listen to like a lot more books, self-help books, business books, autobiographies. It keeps me really engaged, hearing it in a different format and being able to listen to something and absorb that information. I find I can do that whilst I'm even doing some other things as well. So it's a great way for me to learn and to keep focused and to keep learning. In terms of my productivity, I use like a number of tools to help me work in this digital world now, which is rather fast paced and is increasing sort of month by month with new technology. But I use something called Slack, which is on all my devices. It's a bit like an instant messenger for like a bit like WhatsApp, but you can have groups for it. And my whole team are in here. We also speak with clients that are often in different countries and in different time zones. So you can snooze your notifications, but working in a more agile manner means that I get more freedom, which means I'm not welded to work in a 9-to-5 job anymore. I tend to do a lot of stuff like either in the mornings, or my creativity can come alive more in the evenings. One of the other tools that we use is a design tool called Figma, which I think is free for entry level actually. And Figma is great. It allows us to share designs and prototypes with clients. And previously, we actually, when I started the business, we would send over like flat PDFs, and the client would have to imagine some of the animation and whatever's going to happen on scroll. Now we have these lovely design tools, which means we can play video, we can show animation on scroll, and we can bring the whole project to life, and they can make it actually looks what it looks like in the final product, but without actually having to do any of the development, which is just a huge time saver and means that there's less gray area for clients. Just good, just generally improves communication between us and the clients. And then the other one for my productivity that also helps is a system called ClickUp, which is a project management system or project management tool. There are lots of other ones out there you may have heard of, Monday.com or Trello, or there's tons of them. They all do different things. They all do pretty much the same thing. And if I'm being totally honest, I spend probably less time in this than my team do. However, the whole business runs through ClickUp, and it means that every morning or every week, the team is allocated their time and their tasks through ClickUp. So in the morning, they know exactly what they're working through, and from previous experience, we know how long certain things are going to take. So means that we don't have to, we're not in danger of overwhelming somebody with lots and lots of work that they need to try and get through in an unreasonable amount of time. So that really helps, probably more so the team than me. I'm doing for time, so I'm just checking my timer. Solutions to me being overwhelmed. So I try to embrace my own unique skills, and I play to my strengths. So I am the visionary within the business, but I'm backed up by a lot of other people within the team that have got other skills that I might not be so good at. The person you see there with the hands on her hips, that's Charlie. She's my head of operations. She's my number 2 in the business, and she's basically like my integrator. She sits and helps me, and the ideas we come up with ideas together, but she's often the person that goes and makes things come to life, and then also the rest of the team help her out and support in that area. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Move along. So as a business, this is our mission statement. We create meaningful digital experiences. And the reason I came up with this sort of mission statement is we want to have purpose, and more meaningful projects mean that we have more impact within the world. and then everybody who's working on these projects is more fulfilling for them, and it just breeds positive, positive energy, and that carries through. And it, like I said earlier on, we've probably got like 53 5-star reviews on a platform called Clutch, which is a worldwide independent review platform. We've got, I don't know, 50 plus reviews on Google and other platforms, where we're creating some amazing work now, and the team that are behind me are really incredible. Our agency, probably 4 or 5 years ago, we registered as a disability confident employer. And when this is obviously a government initiative, and it's designed to help employers recruit, retain, and support people with disabilities and long-term health conditions in the workspace. But applying for jobs can be daunting in any aspect, but especially if you've got a disability. So we want to try and create a space where people can be really confident to share what that disability might be, and then we can adapt their surroundings. So if they want quiet places to work, if they get overwhelmed at certain times, or it might be that they I don't know, that everybody has different ways, and it's not black and white. So we like to accommodate our staff and future staff. We promote an inclusive working environment. So our values within the business, we're looking to always innovate. We're very passionate about the work that we do, and we want to be original. And these values echo through the business. And even when we're recruiting, we recruit based on these values, along with creativity, so like and problem solving as well. But we don't necessarily, we don't actually recruit based on qualifications. We recruit based on the quality of the work and our interaction with that individual. So just a few benefits that we include to support our work staff, making them more flexibility and adaptability within the workspace. So we have a charity. It's not a charity day as such, but people can either volunteer for a charity for a certain amount of days, and the business will still pay them. So we encourage people to do volunteering and help out at other at various charities of their choice. The duvet days are, if you're sick, or not necessarily if you're sick, but just if you particularly overwhelmed, you don't necessarily need to give us any excuse. But if you're just feeling like an off day, and everybody has off days, no one can run at 100%, every single day. It happens in peaks and troughs, and we understand that and take that on board. All my staff operate from a hybrid perspective. So some people will do 1 day a week in the office, some people will do 4. Some people travel more to get to the office, some people travel less, some people have got children that they like to pick up from school. Charlie's actually recently just come into motherhood, and so she's balancing things with her new baby Lola, and family life. So we're adapting around that, and then everybody gets their birthday off. Even if your birthday falls on a Saturday, you can have a day off the following week, which I think is always, nice. So again, mental health. I believe in looking after my own mental health and the well-being of the rest of the staff. I think it's a big part of what we do. Me particularly, I really like getting outdoors. Last weekend I went to Castleton with a bunch of friends. This is a new networking group that I've recently joined, although it was pretty cold and pretty windy. We still had some really good chats, and I met some new lovely people. Just a couple more slides left now. Stick with me. Wellbeing at work, we on a monthly basis, we send out this wellbeing survey, and it means we send it out and they can fill it out in their own time, and they can share some things personally or professionally that are bothering them. They like I said, they can fill it out whenever they want, and they can process this. They're not put on the spot. It's not an interrogation, but we get some really nice feedback from this about how people are feeling, and if there is anything, whether it's hardware or software or conditions, so that we can improve their way of working. And also, this is just something that that Charlie's actually implemented just this week. We want to try and encourage people to move more. So we've got the whole team to download this app called Count It. It integrates with our messaging system called Slack, so it tracks everybody's steps and then it shares people's progress. The whole team wanted to do this. Everybody wanted to get involved, and they've set some clear goals collectively for the team, but also individually, which, you know, I think it's hard, especially after we've come out there. I think it's like the 10 darkest weeks of the year, which we've just come out, which I know is difficult for people around Christmas time, and January can be tricky, but we want to try and keep people motivated and keep people's mental health as good as we possibly can. So it's nice to do it collectively as a team, because it keeps you a bit more committed. So if you'd like to know, that's the end of my presentation. You can find me. This is my LinkedIn profile, so you can find me on here, or you can scan the QR code which is on there. It's got all my contact details. If anyone wants to talk to me again in any more detail about anything specific, feel free to reach out or to connect to me on LinkedIn. And yeah, that's my final slide if anyone has any questions. Sorry, I just have to bring you back up now.
So yes, so thank you very much for an illuminating talk. I really found it quite interesting, the number of different sort of technological means that can be integrated into the workplace, in terms of workplace and the transparency of communication, because like you said, transparency is one thing which is really important. The question that I have, which is based on one of the apps that you actually showed in terms of like sort of sharing your work, what sort of made you realize in terms of was it related to neurodiversity at all, and the sort of challenges that there are in terms of communication, to find ways to sort of find digital means to support that sort of transparency and communication in a sort of easier way, with clients and people that you work with?
Yes and no. Obviously it improves the speed in which we can work at, but you know, I don't like being put on the spot myself, you know. So I don't really want my employees to feel the same way as the same way I do, and the same with clients. You know, there are some clients that don't particularly want to come in. We very rarely actually have a lot of clients in the office now. You know, after COVID, and we have a lot of international clients, so a lot of them will jump on a video call, but that might be just an audio call. They might not feel comfortable sharing their camera. But typically, yeah, people feel feel more comfortable sharing and recording information via screen rather than in person, because I actually used to record a lot of my meetings that were in person, which for some reason, like, people felt a little bit uncomfortable with when I was recording them in person. But I tried to explain that when I was recording them, it's purely because I can't make notes, because I'm a dyslexia. I can't write notes quick enough and be present in the meeting at the same time. So people just find it quite normal just to be recorded now online.
Interesting. I like that because I was thinking about minutes and note taking and sort of meetings and sort of like, because there are things such as like autopilot and other AI tools that can be integrated in terms of transcribing and summarizing things as well. So it did sort of make me reflect on this as well. So yeah, that's my question. Is there a question from the audience? We do have time for one or two more questions. Yes.
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for this presentation, Daniel. I mean, it was really insightful. My question is, so from what I understand, so you're doing like digital products, so whether it's like presentations, design. Correct me if I'm wrong, but so that's what you do exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So predominantly, we do a lot of corporate branding. We do a lot. I'd say 80% of our work is building and designing interactive and bespoke websites. We've recently just finished a UX UI job over in New York. It's probably one of the biggest ones that we've done. So UI is user interface design and UX is user experience design. So they've got a bunch of developers over in New York, but they wanted us to design and build their new app. So we do a lot of that as well. And these tools help me do it.
Yeah, I mean that's interesting. But I mean, like you mentioned, like you work with people like in New York. I suppose you work like with big brands, with big companies. How is it? I mean, it must be like really stressful, like just thinking about, especially in the creative world where, you might do work for a week, you do like, the design and everything like that, and then they come up with like, no, we don't like it, it's not good enough, or something. You must have that in your mind.
Yeah, maybe in the early years, but I've had the business for over 12 years now, and my design team, we very rarely, I can't even remember the last time we've shown a design to a client and they've just said no, I don't like it at all. We normally show them a couple of variations and we talk through that, and they will have seen a lot of my previous work. There are like tons and tons of case studies on our websites of previous work that they've done, so they kind of know our style already, and they know what we're capable of doing. And then I suppose it's a leap of faith from the client's point of view, backed by lots and lots of reviews and the experience of my team, really.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, plus, like, yeah, I mean, I've seen like just the slides, but basically, I can see like you know like it looks really fantastic. I'm not gonna lie.
No, thank you. It means a lot. This is my baby. I'm involved in a couple of other businesses, but this is my baby. Yeah, Visions was just born from me. I'm the only founder and shareholder within the business, and I take a hell of a lot of pride in what we do. But it is all backed up by an incredible team. But it does mean a lot to me when I hear people like that saying, looks like we're doing a good job. So it means a lot. Thank you.
No worries. I mean, this is the truth, though. But yeah.
Thank you, Mitchell.
Great. So yes, that's all the time that we have for questions. I thank Dan for a very illuminating presentation, and I hope you've all learned something valuable from this conference day. I will be very cheeky, and in the last minute, I will basically ask one person at random to basically say one thing that they've learned from this conference day, and I'm going to pick Sam. So over to you, Sam.
Why'd I have a feeling you'd pick me for this? I really enjoyed your presentation, Dan, and I really liked the way that you were super inclusive, but also understood sort of everyone has shades. And I think it's really important to note that, you know, not everyone is perfect 24/7, and to be able to give them the flexibility to, you know, to work from home, or to, you know, to have a day off to reset and to come back, I think was you know, really good, and I guess an underrated, I guess, skill for a company to have, because, you know, if in my experience, I've had staff members that have just had a bad day, and it's been really difficult to try and get, you know, a day off for them to just reset. And I think it's really important that the companies understand this. So I guess that's my one thing that I learned is what a great company you have. And if you ever need an event manager, let me know, Dan.
Okay. I'll bear that in mind. Thanks very much.
No worries.
I just think if I was in their shoes, what would I feel like if I was having a shit? Now I'd like to just have a bit of a duvet day. So thank you for that. Thanks for sharing.
Brills. So with that, I shall bring the conference day, the first conference day of 2025, to a close. Thank you everyone for attending, and have a marvelous evening. And thank you, Dan, for coming once again.
No problem.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thanks very
Thanks,
much.
Dan.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.
Thanks,
Bye bye.
Dan and
Thank
Mitchell.
you. Thank you.